We're everywhere and anytime. Subscribe today. Bakersfield.com.
Roadrunner Rundown on Bakersfield.com and the CSUB Roadrunners Digital Network. Live from the Dignity Health Studios in downtown Bakersfield, California.
Welcome once again to Roadrunner Rundown, the official program, CSUB Roadrunner Athletics. Corey Costello here with you on Bakersfield.com, GoRunners.com, the Roadrunners Digital Network. We're live from the Dignity Health Studios here in downtown Bakersfield. Thanks so much for joining us. We got a good show planned for you today. We are into the summer months. The competitions are over. Now we look forward to the 2013, make that 14-15 year of competition, and we'll kind of be bringing you updates throughout the summer, some features and all that good stuff as well. But we did have quite a bit of news this past week, so that ties right into our guests on the program today. We're going to be speaking with our head baseball coach, Bill Kernen, because he confirmed that, in fact, he's not going anywhere, at least not right away, and he's going to stick around and coach the Roadrunners yet again. So we will talk with Coach Kernen about his about-face, about his change of heart and deciding to stick around with the Roadrunners for at least one more year and then kind of on a year-to-year basis after that. So we will talk with him coming up in the next couple segments of the program. And on the women's basketball front, Greg McCall, our women's basketball coach, will join us. He's got some news to share as well. So that's what we got coming up on the program, and we'll speak with those gentlemen on the show today and much, much more. And, of course, we'll get into a little bit about the 2014 Rowdies coming up this Thursday at the Fox Theater. More about that coming up on the program as well. So thanks so much for joining us. Remember, you get the show anytime online at GoRunners.com. Check out the archived editions of the program as well. We'll start with a little news. No highlights, but we got some news to get to. As we mentioned, we start with news in the baseball front. Bill Kernen, the CSUB head coach, announced on May 8th he was going to be retiring. Well, he decided to come back for one final act. Remember, he was going to retire, become a playwright once again, and do some stage and screen work, but he is coming back. He agreed on a year-to-year contract extension, remain at the head of the Roadrunner baseball program. He talked about his retirement here a few weeks ago, and then he decided after the conference tournament that, you know what, this team's going to be pretty good next year, probably not going to be smart to walk away now, and he spoke to the media last Friday about his decision to stick around.
I don't think that would have mattered because the real draw, I think, is this team and the guys on this team, most of which is coming back. We're losing three guys that were key players for us, obviously, but we got most of this team coming back and lost one pitcher, and so this is going to be a chance to be a special team, and I think I'd like to be a part of that as opposed to finishing this way and then have somebody else enjoy the development that's happened and that I've agonized through for the last four to 8 months with these guys.
When he told us that he was going to be leaving, we were kind of disappointed because we know how good we're going to be next year. We're very confident in that. So we want the guy who put us together to be there with us while we all go out.
So he talked about some unfinished business. Is that the way that the end of the season felt to you guys?
Yeah, we played really well at the end. You know, I think this is probably the most talented team I've ever been a part of. Even more talented than the team a couple years ago, or last year, that won 37 games. We were just really green. And so when a lot of the freshmen started stepping up and we started figuring it out as a team, then we got really excited and we were like, man, we could really do some things.
And that was head coach Bill Kernen and soon-to-be senior pitcher James Berrigan talking about Coach Kernen's decision to stick around with the Roadrunners. We will have him coming up a little bit later on the program. We'll talk about his decision to come back, kind of what changed his mind. And I'll tell you what, I mean, at the conference tournament, Bakersfield going 2-2, and they're the only ones to beat Sacramento State, who ended up going to the Cal Poly Regional and winning a game over there. They're the only ones to beat them during the conference tournament and had a real close game with them in the second game as well, in the elimination game for both teams. So the Roadrunners were they were right there. Obviously showed a lot of coming together. And this is a team next year. You look at the starting lineup, they're going to have 8 of their 9 position players who started in the field this past year returning. The only one who will be gone will be Oscar Sinai, who was at shortstop this year. He's expected, obviously, to graduate and be selected in the Major League Draft, which is coming up a little bit later this week. So yeah, they're going to have a lot of their position players, their starting lineup returning, and quite a few pitchers like James Berrigan coming back and a few of the young guys as well. So it should be an interesting year for Roadrunner baseball. Should be a pretty good ball club, and Coach Kernen deciding to stick around, and don't quite blame him for that, as going to be a good team. And as he said, he's agonized for 8 months. Let's not someone else take the credit. All right, so he wasn't the only coach who received some good news last week. Women's basketball head coach Greg McCall received a 3-year contract extension to remain at the helm of the Roadrunners as well. McCall took over in 2011, led Bakersfield to a 19-12 mark last season, including a 12-4 mark in conference play, where they finished second in the WAC. Bakersfield also a WAC tournament semifinalist, and they received the automatic bid into the WNIT, where they lost a first-round nail-biter to St. Mary's. So Greg McCall, definitely a deserving year. He spoke to the media last week about his new extension and his plans moving forward, and why he remains dedicated to the Roadrunners.
Yeah, it's definitely, we came a long ways in 3 years in a short period of time. You know, the first year was really rocky. We had a lot of injuries. The second year, we came along in the second half of the season. Then into this third year, the girls, you know, they already knew the system. They bought into everything that I've asked them to do. And that's what makes this, you know, this team so remarkable, because without these young ladies, like I said, they're a remarkable team, because they've, you know, it was up to them to buy into everything that we've asked them to do. And they did that with a lot of pride, and they took a lot of gut and effort to you know, to do those things. And the results showed at the end, you know, and they were, you know, did some really good things. They were happy about everything, the way we approached everything, and so very, very excited about it.
With the progress this program has made, I mean, exciting to have the chance to take another step forward, to have some security that you know you have a chance to keep moving in the right direction? Yeah,
and that's our goal. You know, we never want to take, you know, anything for granted, and I definitely don't want to do that. And I'm very excited about the fact that, you know, giving me another opportunity, another 3 years to kind of start it over again, and to build from where we started. You know, this is definitely a building process, and we did a really good job this year. You know, they had us picked 5th at the beginning, and we ended up taking 2nd in the conference, and doing something that was really remarkable by going to the WNIT. That's something that's the first time in school history that any program, especially on the basketball side, has been able to accomplish.
In this era of coaching is all about bigger city, bigger market, bigger coaching job. Mm-hmm. So, but this is a different move.
Yeah.
Talk about why.
It's a different move for me because this is home, and this is home for me. Like I said, I played here. Everything about me is blue and gold. And about CSUB. My family's from here, my kids are here. This is home for me. So I've been here since 1990. And so that tells you, like, hey, I've had a great run here, and I want to continue that. And one of the things, my ultimate goal was, you know, to put us on the map nationally. And that's something that we've done this past season, but I want to do it even at a higher level by getting us to the NCAA tournament next year. And ultimately, you know, being able to get in there and be able to make, you know, headway into the NCAA tournament. So my goal is to continue to put Bakersfield on the map, and that's something that we want to do, and that's going to take, you know, all these young ladies out here to buy into everything that we're continuing to ask them to do.
And that was head coach Greg McCall, CSUB women's basketball, signing a 3-year contract extension as well. So Coach McCall sticking around, Coach Kernen sticking around as well. And both of those gentlemen will be on the program a little bit later here on Roadrunner Rundown. We'll have Coach Kernen in the next couple segments. Coach McCall joins us in the final segment of today's program. And Greg McCall returning 8 letter winners next season, including All-American Tana Outland and a pair of all-conference selections as well. So he's going to have a pretty good team as well. So good that he'll be back for a team that really look at the conference will definitely be a favorite to finish near the top of the Western Athletic Conference next year, especially as that team's been together for 3 years, a lot of them going into next season. So be a very experienced group on the floor for the Roadrunners next year under head coach Greg McCall. Real quick note on track and field. Congrats to Brian Wilmert, who we had on the program last week. A strong showing at the NCAA West Regionals. Despite not advancing, Wilmert managed his second best throw of the year, 193.10 in the hammer throw. He finished 26 among the West 48 top hammer throwers, and so his first shot at a national meet, he doesn't disappoint. A season second best throw, 193.10. Pretty good for Brian Wilmert, the WAC champion as well. And the hammer throw will return next season as a senior for CSUB. So again, another one of those sports with a couple really talented and really decorated seniors returning. Men's track will have kind of be led by Brian Wilmert next year, the WAC champion, and a good showing in the West Regionals. One more event. We got one more event on the books coming up before we totally wrap up the school year, and that is going to be the Rowdies. That is coming up Thursday night at the Fox Theater. Doors open at 7. Curtain goes up at 8. This event is totally free. And this year, Rowdies at the Movies is our theme. And here's what we've done. We have basically turned the entire show, since we're at the majestic Fox Theater for the first time. And, historically, it's been a movie theater back in the day and all that good stuff. So we're taking Rowdies to the movies. So our Student Athlete Award show has got a movie theme. Every award has a movie category or a movie feel to it with a movie soundtrack. And our student athletes have done a phenomenal job reenacting their own movie scenes and movie trailers. I'm telling you right now, it's worth just the price of the non-admission to be there. And tickets, of course, are free. Just come on in to the Fox Theater. Doors open at 7 o'clock on Thursday night. And our students let me tell you, they're something talented. I'll let you know. They not only can they perform on the field and on the court and in the pool and all that good stuff, they can act a little bit too. So we've got some pretty good actors on our student athlete roster, and they do a nice job with the Rowdies. And you're going to enjoy their feature films, their short feature films, which will be playing at the 2014 Rowdies coming up Thursday night at the Fox Theater. And you can get more information online at GoRunners.com. But show up at 7 o'clock. It's a nice kind of semi-formal event. Gold carpet will start at 7 as well. We got the gold carpet entrance up into the main entrance of the Fox Theater there. And it's a good time. And so our student athletes and definitely want the community to be involved and see what they've accomplished over this last year, because it has been something very, very unique. So go out and join us. And, of course, we also have new for this year. Check out the Bakersfield Californian Wednesday and Thursday of this week. We have a special Rowdies Pick'em contest. You'll find the ad in the newspaper. There's a bunch of check boxes with 12 of our categories, 12 of our award categories with all the nominees. You just need to pick the winners, fill your name and email, phone number out, come to the Rowdies, turn in your entry form, and guess what? If you pick the most correct winners, we've got a pair of season tickets for you, and for men's basketball next year. And we also threw in we kind of had it laying around from one of our auctions, a autographed Peyton Manning football jersey. So that's pretty cool as well. So check out the Bakersfield Californian Wednesday and Thursday. Get your entry form into the Rowdies Pick'em contest. Pick 12 of our award winners, and the highest score to win season tickets and a Peyton Manning jersey signed. There you go. So that'll be in the Californian on Wednesday and Thursday. So join us as well on Thursday night at 7 o'clock at the Fox Theater for the Rowdies. We're going to step away and take a break. When we come back, we're going to be speaking with head baseball coach Bill Kernen, his decision to stick around and postpone retirement for at least another year. And we'll talk with him about that decision and what's next for Roadrunners baseball. And also still to come on the show, Greg McCall, women's basketball head coach, off of his contract extension as well. We'll be back. This is Roadrunner Rundown.
Do you need training to find that special job? West Tech is here to help. We offer several training opportunities such as Passport, Confined Spaces, Pediatric CPR, Medic First Aid, Defensive Driving, and Agricultural Safety. Whether you are an individual sent to us by an employment agency or one of our many large business clients sending in huge teams of employees for training, our solutions can meet your unique needs. West Tech, we change people's lives.
Current Business Journal contains news and information from local business leaders and organizations. Topics include agriculture, health and medical, energy, real estate, and more. Visit currentbusinessjournal.com to find out how to subscribe or where to pick up a free copy. To inquire about advertising in the bi-monthly Business Journal, call 395-7586. Find us online on Facebook and Twitter, as well as on currentbusinessjournal.com.
Brave and bold, silver and gold.
We're on a mission.
Aggie up.
Bronx Country just got a whole lot bigger.
Mighty Wolverines of UVU.
Join the herd. Lopes up.
Bold moves, big season, grew up.
We are the new gold standard.
We will be champions.
We are the Western Athletic Conference.
The Roadrunner Scholarship Fund creates educational opportunities for over 300 student athletes at CSUB. By becoming a member and donating to the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund, you're not only helping the Roadrunners fund the scholarship needs of our teams, you're investing in the future. The Roadrunner Scholarship Fund isn't just developing student athletes. We're developing tomorrow's leaders from lessons learned during competition. For more information, log on to gorunners.com/donate and become a member of the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund.
And welcome back into Roadrunner Rundown, the official program CSUB Roadrunner Athletics. Thanks for joining us once again on the show. And don't forget, join us Thursday night at the Rowdies Fox Theater. And that show starts at 8 o'clock. Doors open at 7. And, of course, we'll be celebrating the accomplishments of all our teams and student athletes of the 2013 and 14 season. All right, we talked about it last segment. Brought you some of the highlights and the sound clips. But let's bring him back in studio himself. And that is CSUB Baseball head coach Bill Kernen, who decided, you know what, I'm not about ready to give up and stop going on Roadrunner Rundown quite yet. I'm going to return. So, Coach, welcome back.
Thought you were rid of me.
Yeah, no. I was disappointed that you were going to be gone, so I'm very happy you returned.
Oh, thank you.
Let's first talk about this your decision. So May 8th, you said, I'm out of here. I'm going to go become a writer, and do that again and direct and all that stuff. And then what changed in that 2-week span, between now and then, or between then and then, last Friday when you decided to return?
I was serious about it. I wasn't kidding. I had everything in place and had applied officially with the state, and everything was set. This might just be semantics, but let's break this down a little bit.
Sure.
I never was actually retiring. I was transitioning to some other endeavor,
Sure.
because one thing I know from my own experience in life is that retiring is a death sentence. So that'll never happen. I'm never going to retire.
Right.
That happened to my father, and I saw some things that taught me that you have to have. It isn't to go off into the sunset and do nothing. You have to have something really to energize you and to continue to put you in a place where you get up every morning with a purpose and an objective.
Sure.
So to move back into film and theater was what I was doing, and that's a very labor-intensive industry and very hard work. So leaving from baseball to something else, transition would probably be a better word. But what happened was that we went through the end of the season, played well, and showed well, I think, in the WAC tournament. It was what we had hoped would happen with the year. And I think that I just began to get a sense that this team had a chance to be special next year. So that was a major part of it. Also, when Coach Robinson and I came here 6 years ago, 7 for me, 6 for him, we both were retired already.
Yeah.
My official retirement was actually in 1995.
Right.
And his, I think, was the same year. So we just had talked, and when this came up, and thought, we had some unfinished business we felt from the time we were together before, and I still think that's the case.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, how tough is obviously you have a couple of different passions in life, one being baseball, one being your theater work and your writing. But baseball just seems to have some sort of draw. I mean, it just seems it's not a game you can just it's tough. We've seen it at the professional level. Tough for coaches to walk away, players to walk away, to give up. Did that kind of factor in? I mean, just saying I'm not going to put on a uniform and stand in a dugout every day. Was that tough?
Yes, it is, and it's going to be forever when it happens. So, yeah, when you live your whole life from the age of 3 till being an old guy like I am now, you're firmly addicted to it. And I've spent the last 3 days watching 10 games a day of the regionals all over the country.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends are still out there, and Mike Gillespie is one of my best friends, so I'm really happy for him.
Big win, yeah.
Yeah, very, very big deal. And
number one seed in the tournament,
and very well deserved. So yeah, it just is your identity, and it becomes who you are, and it's impossible to get away from it. When I do stop coaching, I'll still be the biggest fan in the world.
Now, you'd mentioned before this wasn't your first time transitioning out of baseball or planning to transition out of baseball. Happened a couple times when you were at Fullerton and then at Northridge. But was it different here because you had built this program?
Very different, and that's the best point, because this was something that just came completely from dirt and scratch to what it is now, and I just feel that I have some responsibility actually to see it get a little farther down the road before I turn it over, because like I said, we still haven't been to a regional, and I think that's something that I'd like to take a crack at doing again.
Yeah, and how much did that little point kind of factor in? I mean, we've talked about sort of the every other year. Once you got the program, built and established after year number 2, it seems like every other year your teams have been very competitive. The every other year is going to be next year, where the team is expected, it's scheduled to be very good. So, I mean, did that opportunity to maybe go to a regional with this team coming up factor in quite a bit?
That did, because I do think that's a real strong possibility for this club next year. I also recruited these guys, and some of the families that have entrusted their sons to the program and to the coaches. This was a small 3 guys left. Next year it'll be probably more. Maybe there was some also feeling of responsibility for some of those guys that I was coaching that have developed this year and now are going to be able to step in next year, I think, and be veterans. Yeah,
you're going to have quite a few upperclassmen next year that have been around with you for 3 years, 2 years, and then next year will be their senior year and junior year. So having those guys around from freshmen to seniors, is that tough to say, okay, I'm out of here and it's their senior year?
Yeah, that was also a factor, and like I said, there are some guys that I feel responsible for having been here and for maybe seeing it through a little bit longer for them. Sooner or later, there's going to be when the transition is made. Of course, it's never going to be a perfect transition where nobody's left over, but we're trying to get rid of the every other year situation, and we think we've made big strides to that with this freshman class that we have. They'll be stepping up over not just next year. I mean, there's going to be some guys that are freshmen now that'll be juniors the year after that. That's going to be a really good team.
Absolutely. Head coach Bill Kernen, our guest here on Roadrunner Rundown, and postponing his retirement for the time being from baseball. And so, how are you gonna? I guess what was your first step? Okay, you decided to come back, and so was it contact recruits that you would sign and say, hey, stick around with us? Was that kind of what your process was after that?
Right. The contact with guys that we had signed in the fall had already happened, so that I made sure that they weren't going to run off because of the announcement that I'd made, and everybody was okay. So then, of course, I had to recontact them and tell them what had happened, and so that was something that I did immediately, and then there's still a couple of people that we think we want to bring in, particularly on the pitching staff. So recruiting is always going on.
Sure.
It never stops, and so we got back into that.
Yeah, and so this is a busy time of year. You just had, I know, some junior college tournaments wrapping up and stuff like that. I know there's high school all-star games. So this time of year for you is obviously pretty busy as you look forward for the team in the next couple of years.
It's changed over the years. Yeah, the CIF playoffs finished this week. It used to be that you could take a month off in the summer and travel. I used to do that. I used to go to Europe for a month every year. Yeah. Can't do it anymore because all the main recruiting events happen in the summer now. Yeah. So it's a year-round process, and there's a lot to get done for next year's class during the summer. And then, of course, you have all the admissions and eligibility situations that you have to get done during the summer for next year.
Looking at speaking of recruiting, it seems like you've had another couple years, one more year than the other sports in the Western Athletic Conference, but you've always had your style of player that you like. It seems like other sports around campus after their first year in the conference have said, okay, we need this style of player, attitude-wise, mentality. What's kind of your recruiting philosophy? Do you have still your guy that you think fits the Western Athletic Conference style of play, the travel, that kind of stuff?
The travel, fortunately, next year will be about half of what it was this year.
Yeah.
But no, I wouldn't matter to me what conference we're in. I go after a certain type of guy, and they have to be tough. They have to be competitive. They have to have a chip on their shoulder because they're probably not high drafts yet. They have to have some reason why they want to come here and up the price of their stock or whatever however you want to call it. And we've had a lot of guys that have been able to do that. So the type of guy that I go after is competitive enough to be able to be successful in any particular kind of conference.
As players have changed over the years, has it been tougher for you to find that style of guy?
Unfortunately, yes. They're still there. The David Metzgers of the world are still out there, but it's a much more difficult process to try to find those nuggets of those types of guys. I think young guys, and probably it's the same for the women's coaches, they feel a little more entitled these days, and you have to. There's just certain things that you're not able to. Some old school things that I used to do that I couldn't even think of doing now, that I won't even talk about. But it's not that they have to be handled softly, because these are the tough kids and ones we bring in. There just aren't as many of them.
Right, absolutely. And you had a couple this year that you brought up, David Metzger, you brought up Max Carter, a couple guys that were freshmen that obviously you anticipate are going to be big contributors not only next season but in the years to come.
Those are two great examples. We feel the guys that we have coming in from high school that we've signed for this year, we think are in that mold. So you have to be that way, first of all, just to survive in the program, because we run it so on such a demanding level, which we have to do. If we're going to so-called overachieve, which I don't think it's overachieving, I think it's getting to your maximum achievement ability. If we're going to do that, we have to really do special things day to day in the training. And it's very difficult physically and mentally to do that. And so that's the first test they have to pass. Yeah. And then if there's guys that are coming back, which there are, they're not going to put up with it. Yeah. So it usually doesn't even get to me. The new guys come in and they have to prove themselves pretty fast. They usually just come in and they stay quiet and work hard and try to gain respect from the guys that are already here.
Yeah, it's a great system setup. All right, Coach, stick around for one more segment. We'll talk a little bit about next year and some changes even in college baseball. So we'll talk about that stuff when we get back. Sound good?
Good.
All right, head coach Bill Kernen joining us in studio. We'll be back with more on Roadrunner Rundown.
Introducing TBC Mobile from the Bakersfield Californian. The most complete news, sports, weather, video, opinion, and lifestyle coverage in Bakersfield and Kern County. It's the easiest way to stay up to date on all things local while on the go. Read it on your smartphone or tablet. Download now by searching Bakersfield Californian in the Apple, Google, and Amazon app stores.
Save 50 to 90% with the Bakersfield Californian's Daily Deal featured on Bakersfield.com. A daily deal is offered each weekday on services from local restaurants, dry cleaners, health and beauty services, retail shops, and local activities for the entire family. The Daily Deal is 100% local. Find these amazing deals only at dailydeal.bakersfield.com.
The Bakersfield Californian is a great read on the iPad, but did you know that the Bakersfield Californian is available on your Kindle Fire? Or how about Google's Nexus 7, the Nook? You bet. You can also read a full replica of the newspaper on your Android-powered smartphone, on Apple's iPhone, or on your laptop. We have a solution for any device. E-Edition is free for subscribers, or just $7.99 a month. The Bakersfield Californian. We're everywhere and anytime. Subscribe today. Bakersfield.com.
Kern Business Journal contains news and information from local business leaders and organizations. Topics include agriculture, health and medical, energy, real estate, and more. Visit KernBusinessJournal.com to find out how to subscribe or where to pick up a free copy. To inquire about advertising in the bi-monthly business journal, call 395-7586. Find us online on Facebook and Twitter, as well as on KernBusinessJournal.com.
The Roadrunner Scholarship Fund creates educational opportunities for over 300 student athletes at CSUB. By becoming a member and donating to the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund, you're not only helping the Roadrunners fund the scholarship needs of our teams, you're investing in the future. The Roadrunner Scholarship Fund isn't just developing student athletes, we're developing tomorrow's leaders from lessons learned during competition. For more information, log on to gorunners.com/donate and become a member of the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund.
And welcome back into Roadrunner Rundown. Still to come on the program, we'll be speaking with women's basketball head coach Greg McCall. He'll join us in studio. He's signed a 3-year contract extension, so we'll chat with him a little bit later on the program as well. And joining us in studio for another segment is head baseball coach Bill Kernen, who postponed his transition from baseball and for the time being. Now, what you still, the good thing about writing is you can continue to write whenever, but obviously trying to work in your schedule. So, but that stuff, you still get to do some of that stuff, right? Even though you're going to still be coaching baseball?
I haven't up to this point because to build the program from nothing required a 24-hour-a-day commitment. And so now that we've gotten a few things in place and I probably will spend some time either on the road or when there's some amounts of downtime beginning to get back into some of my work and see if there aren't some things I can do. And new writing might not be what I would do, but I've got some things that need to be reproduced when I go back.
I think you'd brought that up to me before. Like, you're always kind of thinking about changing, even stuff you've already put out there. You always think about changes and tweaks and stuff like that, correct?
Yeah, and I have some one-acts that I could make into full lengths if they could go that direction. So you do some writing and some other scenes and see if that would work or not. I've got a couple actors back in New York that are waiting for me to write something specifically for them. That would probably start out as theater. Yeah. But theater and film production is a tough deal, but the writing is. Oh, the directing's actually more fun. Yeah. The writing is kind of a grind.
Who's it tougher to direct? College age baseball players or actors?
Well, actors are very insecure people.
Really?
And they're usually pretty shy also. And then they light up when they get on stage. It's really something to see. Yeah. You have to handle them completely differently. You have to be very supportive, you have to make everything safe for their environment because they actually, if the good ones, go pretty deep into their emotions, and so they're feeling vulnerable and exposed all the time. And I understand that when you go through the rehearsal process and when they're on stage. Film is a little easier because you can do a lot of different takes, and you don't have the pressure of this has to happen right now. Yeah, it's live. That's a tougher situation. But they're an interesting breed.
Head coach Bill Kernen here on Roadrunner Rundown. I was thinking about this morning as you get ready to coach this squad next year in 2015. We're seeing another change in college baseball, and it's going to be the ball itself. They're going from the raised seams back down to a ball, which is similar to what they're using in Major League Baseball with a flat seam baseball, which is supposed to change the hitting game a little bit once again. I'm trying to remember. I mean, you've probably been in maybe 4 or 5 different styles of baseball now at the college level, metal bats, and then the supercharged metal bats and BB core, and now the new baseball. I mean, how is it going to affect the way you coach next year?
It has an effect because this ball is going to travel 10, 15 feet farther. Yeah. So the same ball that hit the warning track this year is going to go out. Yeah. So I can think of some times during the year when I wish that would have happened, and I can think of some other times when I'm glad it didn't happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it is going to change things a little bit because that ball's going to go farther. The bats will be the same. Yeah. I even go back my own playing days to wood. Yeah. So I've gone through all those different. I'm okay with it. I'm glad there's going to be a little more offense into the game. I think we have 2 or 3 guys that can take advantage of that.
Yeah, and I was thinking back. I've really enjoyed. I know the hitters hate it. I've enjoyed the change to the BB Core bat just because it seems more like real baseball. You're not having guys that weigh 130 pounds hitting 400 feet home runs like it was. And when the program started in 2009 and 2010, you had to just supercharge bats. But what about from a pitching standpoint with the baseball? Obviously, less to grip, less to move. Can pitchers make that adjustment at the college level?
There will be some effect on the variety of pitches, particularly your secondary off-speed pitches might be affected negatively and make it a little bit more difficult. But I think the biggest thing is just going to be just throwing a ball down the middle and just going 9 against 1 on somebody might be a little more dangerous now. And you're going to have to really locating will be even more important, which is always important, but there's some strong guys in college baseball, and I think we have a couple of them. So, but it'll be the same for everybody. So we're hoping that we can have some guys have some home run years. I think Solomon Williams might have just got 10 home runs added to his resume.
Yeah, I was going to say, and he hit, I think, probably one of the hardest and furthest balls I've seen hit with a BB Core bat and the old, and the high seam baseball this past year at the conference tournament. So obviously him hitting well with the bats and the old ball obviously is going to bode pretty well for him, who just came on so strong at the end of the year.
Yeah, he's only going to get stronger too because he's still growing into his body a little bit. I remember when we had Tim Wallach way back in the day at Fullerton, he looked like that. He wasn't 6'7", he was 6'5", but he looked like that. And then by the time he got into the big leagues, he was just, a full-grown, filled-out man, and that's still going to happen for Solomon. And when he does, it could be pretty scary. I hope it's like in the next 3 months.
He reminds me of, as I'm seeing more and more of, is Kyle Blanks, who's playing for the Oakland A's now at first base. He was with the San Diego Padres, and I remember seeing him play in the Padres. They had him in right field, and he didn't have much of an arm, and he was hitting little nubbers in the infield. I'm going, man, this guy's like 6'8", and he's 230. He's a beast, and he can't hit and he can't throw. And then he gets traded, and then they kind of change him a little bit, put him in first, and now that he's hitting solo home runs, he's kind of grown in, even as a minor league ball player, now a major leaguer. It took him a while to grow into his physique, and I think Solomon Williams is right along those same lines, that style of play.
Yeah, we have some other freshmen that Malik Jones is 6'5" and needs to get stronger, and when he does, and then we've got some like Cody White and Sanchez, and some of those guys are already pretty strong guys, and that. We'll have to see what we do at third base, but somebody's going to need to play third because we're moving miles short.
Yeah,
and we'd like it to be somebody with power.
Are you gonna? Is this a full-on all-in Miles at short? I know this year it was like he was so good at third. It's so tough to move away from third base because he makes the tough look so routine over there. So you're just basically saying, okay, he's our shortstop. Someone's got to play third next year.
It was actually more to do with David Metzger. We wanted to get Metzger in the lineup at second base. Yeah. So in order to do that, we had to move Oscar over to short and Miles at third. That was our best infield.
Right.
Next year it'll be Miles and Metzger in the middle. That'll be it.
Yeah.
And the third base situation will be wide open for the guys that are already in the program. We're not recruiting any third basemen. We've got them already in the program. They're just going to have to fight it out and see who wins.
David Metzger reminded me a lot of, during the late stage of his freshman year, reminded me a lot of Oscar Sinai in the late stage of his freshman year as well. Really got comfortable, wasn't trying to hit for power. He was just hitting, soft line drives into right center field and putting the ball in play and getting on base. And then defensively, he was great at the end of the year. So you obviously have to be pretty encouraged about, up the middle, as good as your team's going to be next year with a sophomore at second base.
I think our middle is as good a quality as we've had, which has been good, which has been with Shryock and with Oscar. And I think it's going to approach that quality. And wait till you see what happens to Metzger over the next. He's going to be 3 more years in college baseball. I mean, by the time he's done, there'll be some real special things that'll happen for him.
Yeah, and speaking of which, it's this starting on Thursday. We'll start with the Major League first-year player draft, and going on through the weekend. Probably 3 guys expected to go. As a coach now, I mean, I know you like those days. Of course, this year you're looking at mostly seniors being drafted, but you look forward to those days when your guys get a chance to be drafted, and sometimes when they take the underclass or the underclassmen, not so much, but there are guys with one more year left. But how you got to be proud of the fact that every year now the draft rolls around, it looks like we're going to have a couple guys taken.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident that 3 will be Aikenhead, Oscar Sinai, and Austin Davis. I think probably because he's left-handed and throws hard and he's big. Austin will probably go the highest. He might go the first day. The other 2 are going to be senior signs. We already know several organizations that have expressed interest in giving them a shot. And this is when the fulfillment of your dream since you were a kid begins to happen. So I'm really looking forward to the end of this week and seeing who gets those guys. And it's going to be fun.
Yeah, it is. And the senior signs always cracked me up. I know last year Jeff McKenzie was WAC Pitcher of the Year and had a phenomenal year. But he was a senior, so he had zero bargaining power. And I walked in on draft day, and he was getting ready to talk to the media, and I said, "Hey, how much is the WAC Pitcher of the Year worth?" And he said, $2,500.
Yeah, let's hope it's more than that. I mean, the thing about professional baseball is you want to go in at the time when you're most able to have your best shot of making it, unless you just want to play a couple of years and just say you did it. But if you really are serious about trying to make it to the big leagues, then you need to go in when it's time and you have your best shot. And all of these guys are in that position. And the real money's made when you make it to the big leagues.
Yeah.
It dwarfs any bonus money you'll ever get if you make it to the big leagues. So we're waiting for that first guy to be able to do that. McCarthy won his 4th game the other day in Double-A. And he's knocking at the door a little bit. So it'll happen pretty soon to somebody.
Well, the cool part is, too, those guys keep coming back. I mean, you talked about the players and the families you have now, but those players keep coming back. I mean, McCarthy comes back. He'll work out in the offseason. You'll have a lot of the minor leaguers. They'll be back and throwing in the offseason, hanging out with your team in the fall and doing stuff like that. And that's got to really help your, just kind of your family atmosphere and obviously getting kids ready for the next level of baseball.
We want them to see the growth that happens once they leave college baseball, and it makes it more real for guys that are in the program saying, you can really do this. This can really actually happen.
From here, And
so it backs up what we're trying to teach them every day. And if you do what we're telling you, here's something that can happen for you. And won't be for everybody, but it's certainly there. And then it's just good for the continuity of the program, the recruiting and everything else. And like I say, as soon as we can get a guy or 2 in the big leagues, then that'll be another step for getting on the national stage and the map for the program.
Well, not just in the big leagues, but in the big leagues with a big contract and a big donation to CSUB baseball.
I think that's going to happen in the future. Yeah, I do.
Looking forward to that for sure. Well, Coach, welcome back. Glad you're sticking around for another year, hopefully a few more, and we'll kind of definitely be following draft day this weekend, and hope a few guys get selected. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. We'll try to make it entertaining as we can.
Yeah. All right. Head coach Bill Kernen here on Roadrunner Rundown. Stick around. One more coach to come. That's Greg McCall. He's sticking around for at least 3 more years. We'll talk to him next. We'll be back. This is Roadrunner Rundown.
Court reporting is an enjoyable career that pays well. Enrollment in the court reporting program at Taft College West Tech will help you learn everything you need to know about making a verbatim record. Apply your training as a deposition reporter, official court reporter, or CART provider. Become a certified shorthand reporter and earn a starting salary of $50,000 a year or more. Call 387-1055 for more information. Court reporting, the career you've been looking for.
Introducing TBC Mobile from the Bakersfield Californian. The most complete news, sports, weather, video, opinion, and lifestyle coverage in Bakersfield and Kern County. It's the easiest way to stay up to date on all things local while on the go. Read it on your smartphone or tablet. Download now by searching Bakersfield Californian in the Apple, Google, and Amazon app stores.
The new book is out. That was easy. I would title this thing sort of a description of what raising children is like. That was easy. I've been writing columns now for about 25 years. Writing has always been a conversation. You're taking somebody by the hand for 3 or 4 minutes and you're not letting go. The new book, That Was Easy. Nothing easy about any of this, but we've had some fun, and I hope you guys will have some fun looking at this book.
The Roadrunner Scholarship Fund creates educational opportunities for over 300 student athletes at CSUB. By becoming a member and donating to the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund, you're not only helping the Roadrunners fund the scholarship needs of our teams, you're investing in the future. The Roadrunner Scholarship Fund isn't just developing student athletes, we're developing tomorrow's leaders from lessons learned during competition. For more information, log on to gorunners.com/donate and become a member of the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund.
And welcome back here to Roadrunner Rundown. My thanks to head coach, baseball coach Bill Kernen for joining us in the last segment. We did have a couple questions via Twitter. I want to make sure I did address them. They were asked in one form or another, but one was talking about what in your heart and brain sparked to make you think it's not time to hang it up. So I think we answered that, and then talked about being close to winning a WAC title and going to a regional. He mentioned those as well. So those thanks to Tommy and Hoops Whisperer for throwing in those questions via Twitter. And another coach sticking around for at least 3 more years. That's women's basketball head coach Greg McCall. We announced his 3-year contract extension last week. And Coach, congratulations! And just first of all, your reaction to given the vote of confidence to stick around and keep leading our women's basketball program.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me, and man, I'm just feel really honored and blessed most of all, just to be able to be in the position where, the Dr. Mitchell, Dr. Wallace, and Jeff Konya all feel like they had the confidence in me to be here for another 3 years, and I always say God is so good, and I always keep Him number one in my life, and without Him, things wouldn't be possible. But they've seen the light to where they feel fit that I could be here for another 3 years. So I'm so honored and blessed to be in a position to be like this. So.
And it was a road, like you guys went 19 and 14 last year. It was a process because that first year, I think everybody on the team had a knee injury. So you guys dressed like 6 players at one point, and you kind of grinded through that. But then the next year, you were rebuilding and players were returning from injury. But then you finished on a real hot streak and a big winning streak during the year. And then this year, you seemed like you picked that up right from the very get-go. You had a tough early schedule, but then you guys seemed to fall into a rhythm. So was that kind of the culmination of 2 years' work for what happened last year?
Yeah, it really is, with us having, like you said, so many injuries your first year. It's something that in my wildest dreams, I didn't never think that would happen. You coming in as a new head coach and you're feeling like, your season before that with Tim LaCoste being there, we just came off of a really nice season, losing into the WBI championship game. And then we're coming in this season, I'm like, man, we can really pick up where we left off. We got some pretty good pieces, and those pieces get hurt. and knocked them out for the season. So we were down 6 or 7 players, and then the second year coming back, those players are working their way back, getting back healthy, and it took them a while to get there. Then we had the big piece with Coffee. She was able to get herself back academically in order, and then we kind of rolled from there. We made a huge stride, had a 9-game win streak, which is a school record, and just kept rolling from there, and still almost ended up going to postseason that year. And then coming into this year, going 19 and 12, and man, that was great, and to be able to do something where we set another school record where we were the first team to go so high into the WNIT. It was the first time in our women's basketball history that somebody's able to do that, and that was really good. Being second in the conference, first year in the conference, we took second where they had us pick 5th. So all those things are good, and I think the girls now kind of understand that we're just not a team now. We are definitely a program.
Yeah, I'm looking at next year's squad, and I think that what you have coming back, it's not just the talent. Obviously there's talent with Tyna Outland and Deji Vines and Badabe Zampara, and you go down the list. Mm-hmm. But this is a group that's been together for a long time. I mean, because of the injuries in some cases, I've had those players around an additional year. So you're going to have such a upperclassmen and senior-dominated team next year. I mean, how easy, I guess, is, like I say, as a coach, is it going to be for you guys when you start opening practice to kind of pick up right where you left off? You don't have to go back and just start from square one again.
Right. That's going to be the most interesting part, because it'll be so easy for us to go right back to where we are. We have things in place. We have a system in place. We have an offensive system in place. We have a defensive system in place. The only thing that'll be different is when we do a couple little tweaks here and there on the offensive side to kind of throw teams off on what we've done in the previous year, and then on the defensive side, because of the way they're calling the game, now we'll make those tweaks and changes on that side of the ball as well too. But it's going to be really good to have that depth and to have that experience, especially with Ty and Deji, who's been in the program for a long time. And man, that they know what I'm thinking, I know what they're thinking, so that makes it a lot easier. And them being great team leaders and great students of the game, it's really good.
Yeah, and we're getting to that point, getting ready close to the summer, and we had Bill Kernen in studio, and baseball has the ability in the summertime. Those guys get to go play. They get to pick up these wood bat leagues, and they play these amateur teams, and they get to travel around all over the country and play these games, so they stay in game shape. Not the same case with basketball. So your team goes off into the wind for the summertime. So what, as a coach, what are you trying to, what's kind of their marching in orders, their instructions in the summertime when they're away from you for a few months?
Well, actually, this is going to be our first time being able to have all of our players here for summer school.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to be here for the summer. So that's going to be pretty good, and we're able to utilize 8 hours of team stuff where 2 of those hours we can actually work with the basketball with the whole team. The other hours you can't have the basketball. And then you have your strength and conditioning and things like that. So this is going to be the first time, so I'm really excited about that. This is really huge for our program, and to be able to have some funding, and that's what we're continuing to strive for each and every year now, to get funding to have these young ladies here in school, not only just on the basketball side, but just academically itself as well too. Getting them ahead and being able to graduate, like with Deji and Ty. They graduated, and then they'll be starting their master's program. So this is giving them a head start to be able to pick up a couple classes.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because that's one of the things that people don't realize in this ever-growing, for our athletics department, the ever-growing steps into Division I athletics. Little things like summer school allow your student athletes to go to school in the summertime, get those classes, catch up, more importantly, get ahead when they're not practicing and playing as much. And that stuff costs money. It's not just free. So to have this program now in a position to be able to do that, I mean, how do you think that's going to help come the fall or come the winter quarter when you guys are playing?
Oh, it's definitely huge. A lot of teams before that, most of the Division I programs that are older, that's what they do. Yeah. And they get a huge head start on us with the academics, first of all, and then with the basketball, they get a huge head start on us. So this is going to be great, and it's really, really a great opportunity, like you said, for us to be in the same ballpark with the other programs, Division I programs. And that way we can continue with the academics, getting our players graduated. Some could be able to graduate early, like I said, with Deji and Ty, being able to go into the master's program and getting started with that early, and then by next summer they'll be done with the master's program, and so they'll have their master's. So all this really does matter, and it does take funding for us to be able to do that. So with you guys' help out there, we're hoping that we can continue to do it with this.
Absolutely. Now, you look at it next year, and like we said, this is a 3-year extension. So even though you'll lose pieces after next season, it seems like recruiting-wise, you still have enough upperclassmen and stuff like that. So how do you build towards the future right now?
Well, we just continue to recruit, and we want to always recruit good quality student athletes, and we always put it in that order. But we've done a really good job of recruiting. I don't know if we know about some of the players that we have coming in. We'll have 7 new players coming in. 2 will be transfer students, one from Delaware State, who's about 6'1", Tylen Carter, and then the other one from San Diego State, Diogene Scurry. They'll have to sit out this year because of the transfer rules, but that means we'll have 5 new players that'll be coming in ready to go right away, and we're excited about those players that are coming in. 2 will be freshmen, and the other 3 will be JC transfers. So We have some height that we've added. I think our shortest player that we added was 5'8". That's the freshman out of Mississippi, and she's a really good player. She's one of the top players in the state of Mississippi.
So gone are the days of the CSUP players being the shortest ones on in Division I athletics, right?
Exactly. Well, I mean,
but Alyssa Shannon's hanging around still.
Alyssa Shannon, I mean, man, she's like the heart and soul. I mean, she's always up for that challenge of players being taller than her. But she finds a way. Yeah. She finds a way to get in there. As you could tell, without her, kind of generating our offense and starting it up especially on the defensive end, just harassing guards and pestering guards, bigger guards that are bigger than her, trying to post her up, and she's just all over them. And so with her, it's just always just fun to watch.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, congratulations. We're glad you're around for 3 more seasons, and also glad that you're going to be have a chance to keep your team together in the summer. And good luck to you, and we'll catch up throughout the year for sure.
All right. Thank you, guys.
And by the way, folks, GoRunners.com, details on the women's basketball camps as well that are coming up in June, and details online at GoRunners.com. All right, we gotta get out of here, folks. Thanks so much for joining us. You can get the show anytime online at GoRunners.com. Archived editions of the program as well. Don't forget to join us on Thursday night at the Fox Theater. 8 o'clock, the curtain goes up for the Rowdies at the movies, and we'll open the doors at 7 o'clock. Free to the public. Come join us downtown at the majestic Fox Theater and celebrate the accomplishments of our student athletes in the 13-14 year, and see some of their film work as well on the big screen. We'll have that this Thursday. Next week on the program, it is our we're going to have a big update on the Major League Baseball first-year player draft. We'll bring in some of the Roadrunners selected and talk with them about their 2015 hopes, 14 and 15 hopes in minor league baseball. That'll be on next week's program. Thanks so much for joining us, folks. This has been Roadrunner Rundown.